Hey everybody, this is Tyler, aka Blue Mage 492, aka Grand Lethal 16, coming at you with another post-convention commentary. Today, I just want to go over AkiCon 2014. It was the first time I had gone, and it was a ton of fun. But I go to conventions first and foremost to get some cool posters and to meet voice talent from some of my favorite video games and get things autographed. When I went to AkiCon, I knew that Yuri Lowenthal was going to be there. I knew Michael McConaughey was going to be there, Tara Platt, and Melody Spevak. So I was excited to meet all four, get some of my favorite video games signed by them. It was going to be a good time. So when I went, I did not pre-order tickets. I just bought them once I got down there, or rather up there. I live in Federal Way, and the AkiCon 2014 was located at the SeaTac Doubletree, I believe. Quite a size downgrade from SakuraCon, but there was AkiCon some relation to fall festivals. Japan, I believe they're really into the idea of these seasonal festivals that encompass the plants, the style of food, and just the cultural heritage of the country in there and what they would do in each season. So that really came out in this. For example, there was a lot of autumn color, a lot of earth tones, oranges, browns, things like that in a lot of the decorations. And then since it also happened over the Halloween weekend, folks love to dress up even more than usual. I mean, you get all your anime dress up, but then no one really looks weird at them because, it is SeaTac Airport. Folks dress in all kinds of ways coming out of an international airport. Plus, you also have all these costumes for people who are just trick-or-treating and doing stuff to do with Halloween around the holiday anyway. We did have a massive arcade. The arcade spanned 3 multi-purpose meeting rooms. It was pretty crazy. Actually, I did put out a video that shows me playing around and trolling some people in the arcade. And it was a ton of fun to go in there. I played some old school Mega Man. I played Crash Bandicoot and a couple other games, Joust, all kinds of old school stuff because they had these arcade machines with like 12 to 16 old school games on them. So I got it going right there. Another thing that was pretty cool is they did have a maid-style tea parlor. I went really late, so there weren't any maids there. And, of course, they had game rooms. And then, since it was over the Halloween weekend, they decided to do an indoor haunted house, which was cool for 2 reasons. I guess when high schools in Japan do their cultural festivals, they like to do haunted houses. It's a really popular attraction. So they were mimicking that. They had people who were acting in there. They had everything you could imagine, all kinds of pop-up things that make noise, things that jump out at you. Plus, they had people dressed up in costume in character who would come out and start reaching at you and stuff. So it was pretty nuts. Let's see, what else was there that was pretty cool? They had all kinds of backgrounds and stuff for taking pictures. And while I did miss it, I heard they had a meet and greet where you could just take pictures with voice actors, which was pretty cool. I unfortunately missed it, so I'm a little bummed out by that. But, if I go next year, I'll definitely be able to take advantage of that. So I'm really happy to say that. There were a couple things that kind of bugged me about AkiCon, or things I feel they could do better as an administration. First part that concerns me is there was no centralized information desk. There was a registration desk, and then there were some people who had administrator badges on, but there was no real, hey, this is where you go if you have a question about the event. You just found a moderator if you were lucky, otherwise, And that did concern me because I couldn't figure out how to determine what the time frames were for meeting voice actors. I couldn't figure out pretty much anything that was in the booklet. And the booklet was, hit and miss. It was basically a booklet for folks who've gone to other conventions and have a general idea how they operate, and you just have to presume based on. Now, since the only one I've gone to is SakuraCon, maybe 3-4 times, I didn't want to just take things by chance. I wanted to know what was going on, how to figure out what to find in what area of the building. The second thing was the price. AkiCon was very comparable to SakuraCon. That's nothing wrong with that. It was maybe $47, $50 perhaps versus SakuraCon anywhere from $55 to $65 or even up to $70 depending on when you got your tickets. Considering the scope and size, I believe this convention is maybe a fourth of the size of SakuraCon. I don't believe in comparisons, typically because it just takes away from the smaller convention. And that's probably not fair because I don't know what the nature of how they get their funding is, so on and so forth, sponsorships and things of that nature. However, that it was a very comparable price. And then with the voice actors, few of the voice actors, I'm not going to say names, it's no big deal. Actually, I will. I know for sure that Tara Platt and Yuri Lowenthal did charge for additional autographs, and they did charge for pictures or voice recordings. Was it a big deal? Nah, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I wish I'd known. I wish there was some way to know in advance so I could have put more money aside. I still put some cash aside, maybe $30, $40, to get extra stuff signed. So now I'm going to talk about a few of the autograph sessions that AkiCon featured. They had one Friday night, Saturday night, and then they had a final one Sunday in the middle of the day before closing ceremony. I loved the Saturday night one. The Friday one, actually, sad story. I was late coming to it. I actually had another function because it was Halloween night. I had to go to that and came back late. The session, I believe, was from like 9 to 10 or something like that. And I got there at like 9:38 and they had closed the doors. What they did is they capped the line early. So if you arrived after that point, you were just out of luck, which kind of bummed me out. And that was the only time I actually ran into any AkiCon staff, is when they were telling me no, I couldn't get in line anymore. However, I was able to get there Saturday. I brought a little bit of money to get extra games signed, and then some friends of mine helped me get more games signed too. I got to meet Michael McConaughey, of course, Melody Spevak, Yuri Lowenthal, and Tara Platt. I got to talk to them about some of the games they've been in, some of their favorite roles, how much of a challenge it was to step into the role. And that was interesting because I always remember how Christopher Corey Smith described doing Rufus's voice in Street Fighter 4, and how it was a really throaty one, not guttural like I imagined, but it was a really throaty one. So talking about all these roles, was pretty neat. I remember Melody Spevak talking about how much she loved playing the voice of Maya from Odyssey, which was pretty neat. I brought the game and she discussed it for a while with me. The line moved kind of slowly, but the nature of how it was set up was kind of weird. Michael McConaughey, I had so many voice actor examples for him to sign. It was funny because I don't even think he could remember all the roles. He's done so many, though. I'm not surprised. And actually, I'm going to show you some of the stuff I got signed in a minute, but first I'm going to tell you about the Sunday session. So the Sunday session was kind of weird because they did it in the main event hall where closing ceremonies and opening ceremonies are held. Because of that, they did buffet style. And that sounds really weird when talking about meeting people, not eating people, right? What? But they had it set up where we got in line and we walked across this table, and at the table there were people seated all along it. And to each person you could get them to sign, then move on. And the problem with it is they put Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt at the beginning of the table, and they put Michael McConaughey and Melody Spevak at the other end. So you had it slow down at the beginning and the end. In between, they had all these professional cosplayers. They had the music guest and a couple other guests of that nature, artists. I think they had Warky T. Chocobo there, who I met as well. He was pretty cool. And then the people in the middle got no love because where they were just kind of located in there. And then it stopped again at the very end for the other voice actors, which I don't know if it was the best idea. I don't know if it was the worst. Maybe I would have split them up and separated them into, quadrants, but whatever. It doesn't matter that much. I think Sunday was actually the day I realized that not all voice actors were charging for extra autographs. It was just Tara Platt and Yuri Lowenthal. This got weird because I gave Michael McConaughey and Melody Spevak some extra cash. That was kind of funny too. Oh, I'll show you some of the games I got. This is pretty cool too. So I said I had a whole stack of games that were going to get signed, and I wasn't playing around. I got 17 items signed at AkiCon. Again, major props to some of my friends, Janessa and Adriana. They both helped me get extra games signed. I'm super appreciative of it. Thanks, Tyrone. You helped me get some games signed, too. I enjoyed AkiCon quite a bit. Would I advise going? Yeah, definitely. If you have Halloween weekend open, you don't have some crazy parties to go to it. Only weird thing is I like to schedule voice acting autograph sessions at 8 or 9 p.m. at night on Friday and Saturday nights, and then the final one around noon or 2 on Sunday. That's kind of weird, but, no biggie. I guess it guarantees even people who got to work can definitely make the sessions, so it's all good. I'm going to switch over to my other camera view to give you some up-close of everything I got signed. Alright, now I've got all the games that I got signed by some of this voice talent at AkiCon2014 to share with you. It's, of course, Fire Emblem. Let's see, I already had a good number of autographs on it, but I added Tara Platt, I added Yuri Lowenthal to it, so now I'm up to 6. Michael McConaughey, who was also at the convention, he is the voice of Captain Gordon. He signed right here, next to the Prinny. Yuri Lowenthal does the voice of Alucard, so I got him to sign this. This is actually, I looked at the artwork on the inside here, and I'm like, this would be really cool to get all the voice actors sign this over a year or 2 or something. I might make that a new pet project of mine for conventions. And Star Ocean First Departure. This is one of the yearbooks. This is an AkiCon yearbook right now, because I got Yuri Lowenthal, Tara Platt, and Michael McConaughey all to sign it. Yuri Lowenthal, of course, does Roddick's voice. Tara Platt does Mavel's voice, who wasn't photoed here. And then I believe Michael McConaughey does Ashley Benhart's voice, who teaches Roddick all the cool killer moves in Star Ocean. This is one of the 2 things that Michael McConaughey exclusively signed. Michael McConaughey does the voice of Seth in Street Fighter, so I had to get him to sign this bad boy. Bam. That's pretty cool. Tara Platt did the voice of Emerald in Tales of Grace's F, one of my favorite Tales of entries ever. Had to get her signature for it. She also does the voice of Tron Bonne here. Let's see. Should be in here somewhere. And she's like, are you sure if it's over the moves? And we're like, yeah, we already know all the combos. No worries. We're not tripping. Yuri Lowenthal signed this. This was one of the cooler ones he signed. I don't know if you can read it here, but this is the Prince of Persia trilogy where he did the voice of the prince. And he writes, time is an ocean in a story. All right, there you go. Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt signed this bad boy. They did old school, high school yearbook style here. So Yuri Lowenthal does the voice of Sasuke. Tara Platt does the voice of Tamari. That was awesome. Michael McConaughey does the voice of Lightspeed Kenny. First notable Kenny in all of the Star Ocean lore. Had to get that signed. Around that time he started doing some freestyle. I was not able to record it. I had too many things in my hands. One of the only downfalls of bringing a lot of stuff to get signed. And of course, Melody Spevak does the voice of Maya in The Last Odyssey. I might move away from Sharpies. Sharpies sometimes get a little fatty. It's hard to tell who signed it. Yuri Lowenthal does the voice of Yosuke Hanamura in this, so I got him to sign right there. That's upside down. Whew. Tara Platt did the voice of Mitsuru, because there's only so many sessions I got to, but she did the voice of Mitsuru as well. Had her sign this, my FES copy, of course. Then Melody Spevak and Michael McConaughey both signed Shadow Hearts Covenant. They both did some voices in this, Shadow Hearts 2. And the final two things. Tales of the Abyss. The thing I love about this is everyone except Melody Spevak had a voice in this. So Yuri Lowenthal does the voice of Luke and Ash. Michael McConaughey does the voice of Vaughn. And then Tara Platt does the voice of Gelda Nebulum and Noir. And finally, the last thing I got signed of note. This one. Bingo. Michael McConaughey signs for Seth. He did do a little bit of freestyle for this. Again, I did not record. I'm so bummed. I should have asked him or Melody Spevak when it got slow on the last day. Do a little freestyle for me. I just wasn't thinking about it. I shot for, you know, getting more autographs than less. So I did run out of time. I've got him signing here next to the picture. This is going to be my Street Fighter yearbook someday. That's the goal. That is just about everything I have from AkiCon. AkiCon was a ton of fun. I got to meet new people. I got to play a ton of video games as usual. Tons of games signed. Again, thank you Janessa, Adriana, and Tyrone, because y'all helped me, hooked me up and helped me get more stuff signed than I could have. And again, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, hit that like button, hit that comment button. Thank you so much for watching.